Allez, 6ème chapitre. Tentacule pareil. Oh. Le regard du poulpe.
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
Attends, le mec, il s'est... Vous voulez pas me dire qu'il s'est juste assoupi dans le manoir comme ça? Ok, on entend l'officier de police parler. Et il est avec une jeune femme.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
Tu m'étonnes, il est supposé être mort.
There are things I can't explain.
Ah, tu m'étonnes.
Tell us. What happened?
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller and a nurse. Blood everywhere. My legs, the pain, I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the Institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
What happened afterwards?
When I woke up the second time, I was in a padded cell. That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute. Hallucinogenic gas pumped into the cells. An infernal machine, horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
You should believe it, Ethan. What Mr. Pierce saw is precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, and chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes, I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan. and I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
It seems hard to swallow.
Cette enquête est bizarre.
Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
C'est vrai que le mec il devrait être mort. Je veux bien qu'on n'ait pas le score, mais quand même, on a vu ce qu'on a vu.
I heard you talking earlier.
Why am I not surprised?
I get the impression you two don't get along.
Intrusive and not very clever. Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
Non, il va rien me dire.
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry.
Ok, il a des problèmes de mémoire.
I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital.
Donc le reste peut-être
Called on
peut-être
Marie's
une
help to
drogue,
get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the
Hallucinogène.
tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
Il appelait vagabond une sorte de crise. Vu qu'on doit certainement halluciner, je dirais une sorte de crise.
Sanders started screaming and convulsing.
Convulsing? That doesn't fit with his history.
Then his body got all crooked.
What in God's name? And you were alone with him?
He accused Sarah Hawkins of being the culprit.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
Alors, prudent me veut affronter la vérité. Je pense qu'il faut la jouer fine parce que de toute façon on n'est pas sûr de tout ce qu'on a vu. Je pense plutôt qu'on est on a été sous l'effet d'une drogue ou un truc comme ça. Donc il est peut-être mort mais pas dans les circonstances qu'on imagine.
You're right. Without a plausible explanation for what I saw, let's not jump to conclusions.
That seems wise indeed.
Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Les faits, rien
Don't
que les
end
faits.
up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Donc on doit parler à la veuve.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
Bon lui je sais pas ce qu'il peut rien dire non plus.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Allons-y. Bon, comme ça aurait été une artiste, c'est logique qu'on va aller voir la personne qui lui a acheté probablement ses œuvres. Bon, les passages un peu de, on va dire entre guillemets de rêve et tout sont sympas, mais l'autre qui est supposé être mort, mais là qui l'est pas, c'est un peu what the fuck. Il va vraiment falloir expliquer ça à un moment dans le scénario. Toc toc.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other.
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The main thing is that we understood one another. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Bah, c'était dans l'hôpital psychiatrique, genre un rêve.
I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
Bon, on va éviter de... On va lui passer les détails sanglants, même si ça pourrait être marrant.
I expected to find you more grief-stricken than this by the death of your husband.
I do not like the tone of your allusion, sir. I had long months to weep every tear in my body, and to accept, if not my fate,
Okay, elle l'a déjà enterré dans sa tête avant
at
qu'il
least
soit
that
mort.
of my husband. And so I'm sorry to disappoint you if you're expecting more hysteria and grieving widow in my voice. Rest assured, however, my anger is real. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
Bon, déjà, on n'y peut rien dans sa mort.
Mrs. Sanders, I understand your grief, and I extend my deepest condolences to you.
Après, je vais pas accuser
But I
l'autre
had
tout de
nothing
suite,
to
mais
do
bon,
with the death
c'est
of your
sûrement lui, mais
husband.
bon.
I've just arrived on Darkwater. I'm investigating the death of the Hawkins
On va
family.
regarder ma carte en main.
The death of the Hawkins family? You mean it was not an accident? This accursed island knows only tragedy after tragedy. You too would be advised to flee it like the plague. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Voilà, on va savoir. Bon, déjà, ce
How did you come to meet Sarah Hawkins?
We were the wealthiest and most influential families on Darkwater. Of course we would know each other. And when Charles returned from Europe with his sweet little artist, she and her sinister paintings were destined to catch my husband's eye. He bought many of her works over the last 5 years. They adorn his macabre gallery.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting
D'accord, le vagabond, c'est
by
une toile,
Sarah
en fait.
Hawkins.
C'est une peinture.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders.
Bon, bon,
I won't be long.
On va quand même fouiller un peu à côté. Hein.
Did she really care for him, after all?
Très chère madame, j'ai bien reçu votre missive dans laquelle vous réclamez le corps de votre défunt mari. Je suis au regret de vous annoncer que je ne puisse consentir à vous remettre sa dépouille, comme par hasard. Vous avez signé lors de son internement une décharge m'autorisant à disposer de son corps de la façon que je juge le plus appropriée. Comme quoi il faut lire Montigné. Veuillez recevoir madame et plus sincères condoléances.
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
D'accord, une photo de Sarah, il y a une peinture dessus. C'est celle qu'on doit avoir. Oula. Nous avons nos pouvoirs de reconstitution. Utilisons notre bas de pouvoir.
A house of artists. Frances Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even?
T'es peut-être ami, effectivement. Non, pas quitter la pièce.
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting?
Ok, elle voulait pas qu'on vende sa toile, ouais.
He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel? Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins?
L'artiste qui veut pas vendre sa toile, la femme jalouse. Il s'est arraché les yeux tout seul.
The Shambler. I need to see it.
On apprend un peu plus sur les soins en lisant des tomes, tout ça.
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a
L'enregistrement audio de
phonograph.
Francis Sanders. On va laisser sa femme y remarquer. Nous on prend tout, nous. Fermé. Alors désolé, je fouille un peu pour découvrir le maximum de choses. On va essayer de découvrir le maximum. Ces portes sont fermées décidément. Ah, j'ai l'autre.
A strange Amerindian pendant.
Ok. Une amulette amérindienne.
Strange. For
Très cher
months,
Francis.
Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to
Je
finally
vous
give it
supplie
away for
d'abandonner
nothing.
tout espoir d'obtenir un jour cette toile maudite. Si notre amitié compte autant que soit peu à vos yeux, épargnez-moi le poids de la culpabilité. Je peux être l'architecte de votre chute. Je vous en supplie, mon très cher ami, oubliez le vagabond. D'accord, c'est une lettre de Sarah. Il demande tout simplement d'oublier l'étoile. Par contre, j'ai vu qu'on avait des points à débloquer. Alors, où est-ce que je peux en mettre? Ouais, là. Ça, je suis niveau 4 en force. Trouver des objets cassés, éloquence ou investigation? Même médecine, je trouve que c'est plutôt peut-être utile. Merde, je voulais pas me mettre. Bon, tant pis, je vais pas le mettre là. Méthode psychologie. 3ème niveau. Point d'investigation, 4ème niveau. Et on va commencer l'éloquence. Voilà, ça paraît pas mal. Alors, souhaitez-vous quitter sans valider? Non, bah non. On valide. On valide. Et voilà. Désolé, on retourne.
An old diary.
Genre, faut des points de force pour pouvoir lire. Clé de la galerie, ok.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
Des preuves, c'est tout.
Another painting by Sarah Hawkins. One connected to the horrors I've discovered on this island.
What a surprise. I'm listening.
And you? What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network and a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say?
Ok, bon, on l'a juste contacté pour refourguer l'étoile que son mari va acheter de Sarah. Une sorte d'encyclopédie de créatures monstrueuses et inconnues, je commence à croire qu'elles existent. Ah, c'est vrai que vu les rêves qu'il fait avec des espèces de bestioles mythiques.
Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder.
Tu veux pas qu'on lise au-dessus de ton épaule? Oh. On peut lire ailleurs, hein, si tu veux. Voilà, arrêtons de déconner, allez voir la galerie. Même dans la galerie, on peut se cacher dans des armoires, quoi. Oh, il a une arc, des tablettes. Oh, l'autre, il est les sphinx.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
Voilà pour une petite île. Une belle collection.
The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
Cet homme avait des goûts un peu spéciaux, on va dire. Un peu macabre. Ah, ça c'est l'œuvre. Je crois que tu as fait le tour avant de regarder, c'est pas quelque chose. Non, non, ah. Nous avons rempli. Allez, regardons la fameuse toile. touché par une toile. Oh, t'es pas beau, toi. Et coucou. Bon, j'avoue qu'à sa place, on me chierait dessus.
What the hell was that?
Si, déjà vu. La discrétion est pas ça fait deux. C'est quoi l'objectif?
I must get rid of it. Down. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Le couteau n'a pas l'air de très bien marcher. Je pensais qu'on pouvait le planter, mais non. Voilà, on a déjà vu, on va passer dans le vif de l'action.
What the hell was that?
C'est une version d'Alien, mais un peu plus dégueulasse.
Down. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Bon. Quelle arme faut-il prendre?
What the hell was that?
Au moins dans l'isolation, t'as fait un détecteur. T'as rien vu.
Down. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Vous lui arrivez par derrière ou autre?
What the hell was that? That maybe I can use this dagger.
Là, il est juste à côté comparé. Yuda, je lui veux marquer en Yuda.
What the hell was that?
T'as déconné quoi.
Maybe I can use this dagger.
En fait, quand il dit je peux utiliser cette dague, c'est peut-être un troll en fait. Pas utiliser du tout ça.
What the hell was that?
Ou alors il faut faut peut-être craquer le tableau avec la dague. Pas l'attaquer lui directement. On va essayer ça.
That maybe I can use this dagger.
Ça doit être un truc comme ça du coup. Ça doit être ça. Je pense que je dois planter le tableau, un truc comme ça.
What the hell was that?
C'est un peu what quoi.
Maybe I can use this dagger.
Faut être patient. Pièce. Je pense qu'il s'est éloigné. Il y avait des jeux là.
Damn it! This dagger didn't work.
Ok. Oh non. Non, non. C'est impossible de choisir la bonne. Caca. Laquelle?
I have to use a specific dagger.
Je viens pour toutes les faire en fait, c'est ça le truc. C'est celle-là. va pas reprendre les mêmes, hein.
What the hell was that? Maybe I can use this dagger. Damn it! This dagger didn't work.
T'as bon, on va bien trouver la bonne, hein,
I have to use a specific dagger.
Je crois désespéré. Elle est bien dégueulasse celle-là. Est-ce que c'est bonne? C'est sérieux quoi.
This dagger looks different.
You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
My arm was disappearing into this painting. You must have seen that.
I saw you put your trembling hands on a collector's artifact. Where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I still got things to settle with Irene.
Ok, elle voulait pas rentrer. Le temps qu'on n'avait pas examiné à sa place. Ouais, petite futée. Brûlez-moi toutes ces toiles, bordel de mer.